What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Fortis After Hours podcast. I'm your co-host, Nate, joined by my wife, Liz.
Hey.
And we have another awesome episode planned for you guys today. And today we're going to be talking about meal prep.
So fun.
My title for this one, because I couldn't really think of anything else, is going to be like Meal Prep Bootcamp. So Meal Prep 101, Meal Prep Essentials, I don't know. But basically what we're going to go over is what you need to get started on your meal prepping journey, like the basics of like cooking, I don't know, common foods used in meal prep, and then how you can like stay consistent with this over a longer period of time. So if you're new to meal prepping, you've never done it before, I think this will be helpful. If you have meal prepped before, but maybe you're like, oh my gosh, it takes so long, or my chicken's overdone. Yeah, it takes so long, my chicken's overdone. I don't know how to cook rice. We're gonna go over all that. And hopefully give you guys the tools you need to get started on your meal prep. This is probably the first of quite a few nutrition style things coming this year. I don't know, just like entirely on the podcast, or it's going to be video and podcast, but we will be doing a good chunk of nutrition style content, and I think this is a good place to start, because without this, it's just poof, what am I doing?
Poof.
You're just talking about meal prep, but you don't know how to meal prep.
Poof.
So that's what I wanted to start with today.
Sounds good.
We'll go from there. And we're fresh off Liz doing meal prep last week.
I did.
Successfully.
Yeah, it was
Thought it was
good.
all great.
Yeah.
And why this is significant is because
Liz doesn't cook.
Yes. So if you didn't know that, I am the cook in the household.
I bake bread.
Liz bakes bread. I cook. She bakes cookies and other things like that as well. But yeah, I like cooking. I do all the cooking generally. But she did this last week, and this actually kind of inspired me. I'm like, oh, we really should like give this information to other people, because for me this is just second nature. I'm just like, yeah, this is easy. But then I was like, oh no, wait, maybe it's not second nature. Almost had a mic fall there.
I see that.
Whoa. Maybe it's not second nature to people that don't know. So we're going to break it down, give you the tools you need, and then hopefully at the end of this episode, in just 30 minutes, you're going to be like, all right, I'm ready to go. I can start meal prepping today. All right, so first things first, why meal prep?
Because it keeps you on track with your nutrition to reach your goals. Because if you don't have meal prep food, I mean, I'm not saying everyone. I understand some people's lives allow them to cook all of their meals, which is cool, I guess, but I feel like that's very rare. So meal prepping allows you to stay on track, especially if your life is busy, if life is crazy. Plus, if you have meals prepped already, you're more likely to eat them versus going out to eat.
You've already spent the money, you've spent the time.
Yeah.
So it's a lot more, there's more into it versus like if you're like, oh, just go here and get food.
Yes. So, and it just helps keep you on track. Like no matter what your goals are, gain weight, lose weight, maintain weight, get stronger, whatever it is, having your meals like prepped and ready and portioned and all of that good stuff just really allows you to make sure you're dialed in and staying on track with the goals.
Yeah.
Feeling good.
Yeah. I think another reason like why people should meal prep is just like the time aspect and the simplicity aspect. Liz kind of like touched on this. Like you are going to save time, period, dot, if you meal prep. I've done this. We've talked about this on the podcast. I've posted this before. You're going to be able to save time if you are meal prepping versus not. It's just what it is. You can divide that time that it takes to actually cook a bunch of meals versus like one at a time. And it is really going to make just your life a lot simpler, and meal prepping itself is pretty simple. I think a lot of people are intimidated by it and they're like, oh, I can never do that, or like, oh, like you're cooking so many meals. But really, like meal prepping is like the most simple way of cooking, or like style of cooking.
Well, and I think as far as like so many meals, like that's gonna look different for each person really. Like we meal prep lunch and dinner. You meal prep, I don't know, second breakfast, lunch and dinner for yourself, like 3 meals a day for you. I really just have one meal right now because of my bonus snacks that I'm eating.
Yep.
But either way, some people will want to prep like multiple meals, And then other people might just need to prep one meal. Like maybe they have time to make dinner every night, or they want to make dinner with their family, or their family makes dinner for them every night, something like that.
Yeah.
And that's fine. So like you don't have to, I guess, before we start and explain all the things that we do, you don't have to meal prep everything. So if you're only meal prepping one meal a day, this is going to be even easier than if you're doing multiple meals a day for multiple people. So just something to like keep in mind too. Like it doesn't have to be all of your meals, and you also don't have to do it all in one day. Like we do all of ours in one day. I have talked to people over the years, that they just, their brain/stomach can't handle eating meal prepped food for more than like 2 or 3 days. I have no problem going with a whole week, or really it's like 5 or 6 days maybe for us usually. I have no problem with it just because it's what we've done. But there are some people that, like I said, have an issue with going more than like 2 or 3 days. So if that's the case, like you can just kind of like apply this but in a smaller dose, and you just might have to do it like twice a week or something. But with that, like if that is what you need to do for yourself, you're going to want to make sure you have a plan for both days that you're going to meal prep, like set into your schedule, so you know that those days are your meal prep days, so you know that you'll have food through the whole week, not just like, oh, I meal prep this weekend, cool, and then you start off the week really strong, because this is what happens, and then halfway through the week, you don't have food anymore, and you didn't set aside time to meal prep, and life got busy, so now you have no food to eat, and now you're like back to not having anything prepared.
Yeah.
So.
No, that's a great point and a good thing to make. And I think another thing is, even if you're doing meal prep twice a week, if you're one of those people, that is still, just to be clear, going to be less time than not.
Yeah.
And it's still going to save money. That's the other thing. A lot of big misconception, cooking your own meals is somehow like more expensive than like eating out or eating like pre-prepared food. Now, could it be? Yes, absolutely. Like if you're going to Whole Foods or something like that, like it could definitely be expensive, become pretty expensive pretty quick. However, if you are just trying to achieve certain goals with your fitness and your health, it does not need to be expensive. It can actually be very cheap. And I mean, you're saving like a lot of, like hundreds of dollars. This is what I'm talking about, just for like one person. If you are just meal prepping with the basics, which is what we're gonna go over. Of course, like I said, there's levels of everything you can, but like just to be clear, me and Liz just do the basics.
Pretty basic, yeah.
And we have like some supplements that we take, like the AG1 greens I really like. I talked about taking fiber like Metamucil I like to take, but other than that, it's all just meal prep food, protein, creatine, and pre-workout if we're feeling it. So, all right, but we're not talking about that today. Today we're talking about meal prep. So we're ready to meal prep. It's a new year. How do we get started? Like I said, this might seem very basic. So if you're not, look, if you already have all this stuff, maybe skip along. Hopefully AI will chapter this and you can use a little thingy and go past it. But anyways, the first things you're gonna need is, and these are just some basic tools, so I guess this will be a little bit of an investment early on, but you can get all this stuff for less than $100, okay? So, and you buy it once.
Way less than $100.
I know, I'm just saying. You buy it one time. It'll definitely be way less. So I recommend getting a digital thermometer, not a like old school, what's that, mercury?
The red thing?
Yeah, whatever that is. Not like the metal one, just like a digital thermometer you can just pop in, it's gonna read it instantly. This is gonna be essential for chicken.
I think you can get those, really any store, but I know they're at Walmart.
Yeah,
I wanna say maybe
10, $15.
Yeah, 10 or $15, maybe. And maybe if you look on Amazon, you might even be able to find them cheaper.
So like for the YouTube one, if I was better at editing, I could put this up here. Okay, digital thermometer, $15. Just pretend it's there.
Pretend it's edited.
Maybe one day. From there, you need a digital scale. So you need some sort of scale. You got to be able to like weigh out your portions, things like this. Again, Walmart, $20 maybe, 15, 20.
And a lot of people will be like, well, why can't I just use measuring cups? Because that's what people say. But it is truly different. So like if you are that person, like, I don't know, go buy a scale and try it, and then go return the scale if we're both wrong in this. But like,
we won't be wrong.
Get a cup of rice with your cup.
Your cooked rice.
Your cooked rice. Get like scoop a cup of it, and then like measure actually how many grams it is, And
185.
It's going to be probably not actually a cup. No matter how long you've been doing it, like we still can't. Like, I mean, we can get close, but it's not perfect.
But no.
And the same thing with meat. Like, you can guess, you can try to use, and then it's just, you're going to be more accurate. Now, I will say, if you're like, I literally cannot get a scale. I'm just saying, like, if someone just like cannot go buy a scale, they just can't afford it right now. Like, if you just if you don't have that extra money, like, using measuring cups is better than nothing.
Yeah, agreed.
So, like,
thermometer key, because you'll die. If you have the chicken is undercooked,
unless you're
it's
like
not good.
magic at cooking chicken or not cooking chicken. Like, if you don't want to cook chicken, then I guess you don't need
then that's maybe lower on the totem pole.
Yeah.
But if you're cooking chicken, you need a thermometer.
Yeah. But no, with the food scale, like, yes, that would definitely be ideal, and you're going to see more accurate results and better progress with a scale because you're actually ensuring that you're getting the correct amounts.
Yeah.
But if you just like cannot afford it, or you're just like, you know what, I'm literally not taking the time to put and measure every gram, because there are people like that too, that they're like, I'm not going to do it. Use a measuring cup. Like, it's not the end of the world.
Yeah, I would agree.
Not measure it. So I mean, you can always just kind of like, if you know you have like 2 pounds of ground beef that you're going to spread out amongst the week, put your containers, pop a little bit in. So you wouldn't have to, is just my little caveat.
We're going to go over that later.
Okay.
But yeah, I would agree with Liz. You definitely need a thermometer. Scale would be ideal. And then you're definitely going to need some sort of meal prep containers. So that you will need. Those you can buy. There's varying different like levels of expensiveness. You can select. You can kind of select your poison. Pick your poison there. Excuse me. And you can go with like super cheap. Like, they're basically disposable, but you can just use them as not disposable ones. We've done that for a while.
Yeah, and I will say, like, this is like a little bit of could be a little bit of an investment. Like, if you buy the nicer level ones, whatever you want to call them, like we have glass ones, like, it is more expensive than just the cheap plastic ones, but they last
years,
much longer,
like years versus
than
months.
The plastic ones that'll get you through like a few, especially if you're microwaving in the plastic, which is
that's
also not really ideal, but
Yeah, but we're talking about basics.
But we do.
But yeah, I mean, if you do the plastic ones, you can expect to probably replace those at least like probably 2 to 3 times a year. If you go with the glass, definitely a lot longer. But you're going to need some meal prep containers. And the last thing you're most likely going to need, unless you're going for some sort of like keto, carb-free, completely diet, you're probably going to have some rice in your diet at some point. And the reason being, it's just a super like bioavailable food, very easy to digest for your body, very simple to make for you, and a very just plain wholesome source of carbs. So if you are going to have rice in your diet, which is probably going to be a good chunk of you, you're going to want to invest in a rice cooker. They're very cheap.
I mean, you can make rice just in like a pot.
It is so much worse. So
but you can.
You can. But every time I talk to someone and they say that, they're like, yeah, just making it, like, here's the deal. Rice cooker, because this is all about efficiency, okay? And like adherence, making you hit the goal, making you continue to meal prep, not just meal prep once and feel good about yourself and be like, that was great, and then never meal prep again. So like, look, a rice cooker is just going to allow you to put the rice in, put the water in, click. It's like that old infomercial. Set it and forget it. Like, you literally just...
You love to use that infomercial.
It's a great one.
You love to use that.
It's a good one. It's a good one.
I don't remember what else you've used that for. Multiple things probably over the years. But you love that infomercial.
I think there's actually a podcast that we have called Set It Forget It. Anyways, no, it's super nice though, because you just put the rice in, put the water in, click it down, good to go. And rice cookers, again, of course, range in price from like $20 to $200, but you can just get one at like Walmart or Target, or if you have an Instant Pot, which a lot of people have.
That's what we use.
That's a rice cooker, so that has rice cooker capabilities. So those are the essentials you need. So again, YouTube version, this would be nice if I had a graphic, but you're gonna need that thermometer for sure. You're probably gonna wanna get a scale of some sort or measuring device. Like Liz said, if you gotta go with measuring cups, or that's what you have, that's fine, but you do need some sort of measuring device. Meal prep containers, and then, like I said, unless you're going completely carb-free, preferably a rice cooker. It's just gonna save a lot of time. So those are the basics that you need. Can you think of anything else?
Oh.
You don't really meal prep, so.
I mean, I have meal prepped.
You did last week. It was good. All right. So from there, let's talk about like actually cooking.
Well, I think first, before you actually cook, is you need to make sure you like plan what you're going to cook. Like, that sounds dumb, but like...
Well, this is the basics, yeah.
I mean, yeah, like, whether you're like specifically tracking or just trying to come up with like plans of like what you want to prep for it.
No, Liz is right. So I think this is something that will save you a ton of time. I think something that's very important is to try and measure your meat or protein source in bulk, and then before you cook it, and then all you have to do is portion it out. It's
I'm talking about even like grocery shopping though, because you got to go get all the groceries.
I know,
with
that's what I'm saying.
Okay.
But you got to know how much.
Oh, well, how much you need.
That's what I'm saying. How much meat you need. So
yeah.
So like Liz said, figure out what you want to eat. Figure out how much you need. That's not happening in this podcast today. That's not the intent of that. But we will cover that in the future. Different macros and things like that. But we're going to assume you already have what you need to eat, like the amounts, and now you just got to go get it from the store. So definitely make sure you, as far as the meats, I like to measure in like whole, like sources and kind of get close to it. So like I think I eat per week, it's like 6 pounds of chicken, 5 or 6 ish.
It's like 4 or 5.
I think, okay, yeah. So it's 4 or 5. I think we buy like 5 or 6 and then I trim it up. And then it's good to go for my portion. So that's how you're going to want to think versus like buying the chicken and be like, all right, I'm going to go home and then like weigh the chicken individually. That takes a lot more time. So like Liz said, kind of like find what you need, get everything you need at the store, get all the portions. You can always buy a little more, specifically in the rice department, because you might need more later. And then you're back home and you're ready to cook.
Yeah.
So how to get started, like actually cooking, this is what I like to do, but I'm just going to run you through it because that's the basics.
And we're just going to note that it hurt my brain to do it like this, so...
But it
worked.
Okay.
But I'm just saying, if you need to adjust slightly so your brain doesn't implode while everything is done at the same time, because that's what happened,
well, I'm going to talk about the concepts, not necessarily specifically ours, because like Liz pointed out...
everything was done at the same time.
Yeah.
All of the things.
Like Liz pointed out, though, we're cooking like almost 30 meals, so it's a little bit different. Most of you guys probably listening to this are not going to be cooking 30 meals, but if you are, then this will be very helpful for you. So anyway, so you got your basics, you got your food, now we're moving on to actually cooking it. So this is what I like to do first. I like to start the rice. This is why it's important to have a rice cooker, because you do not want to waste a second of time in the meal prep sphere, because you want adherence. You want to come back next week. Okay, I can do that. Not like, oh my gosh, like these meals are amazing. And you look down on the clock, it was like 5 hours. Because that's the thing. If you're not good at cooking, it could take you a while. So we're going to shorten that time down. So step 1, get the rice cooking. Or if you're going pasta, something like that, whatever, get that boiling. Rice is ideal though, because you put the rice in the cooker, put the water in the cooker, ding, and then you're done.
You said it and forget it.
Thank you. I like that commercial. Yeah, it was good.
I know you do.
So you start with the rice, and that's cooking. Then you can go get your meats, and depends on what you're doing. I prefer to cook my chicken I prefer to cook the chicken in... the oven. Sorry, I'm trying to make sure this is still recording. Okay, it is. That was weird. I prefer to cook my chicken in the oven. I find that if you cook it in the pan, it kind of like dries it out a little bit. But if you cook it in the oven, it can also dry it out. So
it can turn into rubber.
Yeah, that's nasty. So how to avoid that? So let's just say we're doing some oven chicken. Of course, you want to preheat the oven. While that's happening, you can kind of trim the chicken. Ooh, quick safety tip. Always make sure you have a sharp knife. We're going over the basics. So like someone never has meal prep before. You want a sharp knife. That is a safe knife. If you got a dull knife, risk of injury increases.
I don't know. Apparently, I'm a risk of injury even with a sharp knife. So
through the roof. No, I sharpened it.
Yeah, I know, and then you didn't let me cut the chicken.
Did I? Oh yeah. I was watching Liz. Oh man, I forgot about that.
Danger.
Oh my word. Yeah. I was programming and I look over and Liz is like, I don't know, like cutting right towards her fingers. I'm like, oh my, I'm like,
Everything was fine, guys.
We do not need to go to the ER.
Everything was fine.
So yeah, that's maybe another video. Anyways, make sure you got a sharp knife and you can use, again, this is like a time thing. You got the oven preheating and you can start chopping up the chicken or like, you know, like cutting the fat off. So from there, if you're baking chicken, you're gonna wanna make sure you put it in the oven, and the time is dependent on the oven and everything. So roughly I would go like 400 degrees, 20 minutes is a good starting point. Measure it with the digital thermometer that you have, put it back in. I would cook it to about 165, 170, just a hair more, just in case for safety.
In case.
But I will say, hold on, don't go past that, because then you go into rubber land where it's just not gonna be good. You got chicken jerky all of a sudden, you're sitting there
It's not even
chewing.
jerky. It's like the texture of it is one of the most
Like
terrible
Gumby.
things. It's so bad.
Anyways, so if you're doing chicken, that's what you're doing. If you got chicken and ground beef going on at the same time, watch this. Now we got the rice going, the chicken's in the oven, and now we got a pan on the stove, and what do we put in there? Ground beef, ground turkey, any type of thing you gotta cook in the pan, boom, all three at once, okay? And again,
We also had potatoes going last week. There was so many things at once.
well, but for the beginners,
I'm just saying, your brain might implode.
yeah.
If anyone's brain is like mine.
Just like go back to this part of the podcast and it'll calm you down. So you got the ground beef cooking, you got the chicken cooking, you got the rice cooking, everything's rocking and rolling. And ground beef a little easier. Same with ground turkey. You can just kind of cook it in a pan until it's cooked. I don't know, like I don't really have advice on that. Yeah, just chop it up until it's not pink anywhere. And then things will start to get done. The rice is done. Rice you can usually just let sit for a while. That's fine. Chicken may get done. You pull it out of the oven. Again, let it sit for a little bit. I wouldn't cut the chicken up yet. I would just let it sit. And then let's say you got the ground beef done. And now we're ready to portion out our meals, like Liz said. Now, here's where I was going to give a little bit of leeway for people, which is why I didn't want to get into it too much earlier. If you're just beginning, I'm going to tell you this right now. If you're just beginning, like Liz said, you don't really even need a scale. You can just get some portions, get some meal prep containers, get a few pounds of ground beef, something, and just put some in each thing, and you're going to be just fine.
Because again, doing something is better than nothing.
Exactly.
So like having some type of prepared meal is going to be
100%
better, even if it's not portioned out or the perfect macros
100%.
or the perfect balance. Having something home cooked that's like good, like whole food basically, is going to be better than going out to whatever fast food place you decided to go to that day because you didn't have food to eat. So
just with that information, you guys, I want you to really like give yourself a little bit of grace if you're just starting out on your meal prepping journey. Just, grab some meat, grab some rice, grab some veggies if you want veggies, measure it out, portion it out for the week, you're gonna be good to go. And what I was saying earlier about the measuring, this is where I would start measuring, not before when it's all like raw. You're gonna wanna you can measure out the beef, the chicken once it's already cooked, or this is a little hack, if you know how much you started with, you can just divide it by whatever, and that's what you're eating. So that's what I do.
Because mine is about 1.5 pounds of ground beef across 5 meals. So we'll take that and then just kind of cook it and then make the containers look about the same.
Yep.
And I know they're not exactly perfectly even.
But you're eating that in the week.
Yeah, and they're also close enough.
Yeah.
Like if I have, 4.2 ounces one day and 4.4 ounces another day, it's not.
You'll be fine.
Yes, it's close enough is my point with that. Because the total amount is still being consumed throughout the week.
You're still consuming the total amount throughout the week, and this is mainly for people interested in general fitness and powerlifting. I mean, you don't have to be as super strict on a day-to-day basis as say like a bodybuilding show or something like this, right? That's totally different. So that is super important. Portion it out. And then close up those meal prep containers, stick them in the fridge right away.
And I know there's different things, like if you are just kind of starting out, I don't know them off the top of my head because I use a scale when I portion out, but there are things like you'd have to look it up online, or if you don't know and you want me to find it for you, I guess message me and I'll find it for you. But you can use different parts of your hand to know about the portion size.
Oh yeah.
So it's your fist is something and your thumb is something. I don't really remember all of the things, but I know there's stuff out there that you could like look up to find it, or like I said, I'll look it up if someone is interested in actually doing that, just to kind of give you like an idea. Like if you are brand new and you're like, don't know how much I should have, like you're telling me put some stuff in here, like I don't know how much stuff. Like there are like guidelines that you can use your hand for, or things like that. If that's something that you wanted to use in place of like a measuring thing, especially at first, you could try and do something like that too.
Yeah, I would agree with Liz. The scale, I think the scale is nice just because it's like a consistent thing. However, if you don't have the money for a scale yet, or like you're just like, that's too intense, I think just portioning out, you're gonna be much better off than if you just have no meal prep whatsoever.
Yeah.
Also, one other thing, I explained kind of like what I do with the multiple meats going at once. If it's your very, very first time cooking, I probably would recommend you just do one at a time. So do the rice, and then you basically cook your meat while the rice is cooking, and then there you go. The multiple meats is more for like time saving. So if it's your very first time, it's probably best not to get overwhelmed and just start with just one meat and one carb, and then go from there. Another quick tip, if you like vegetables, I strongly recommend either using, like if you're using fresh vegetables, don't like totally roast them when you're cooking, because you're gonna re-microwave them. So
with vegetables, I would also, if you're doing a whole week, I'm gonna tell you, they're not gonna last till the end of the week. So that is something like, you could prep the rest of your meals and maybe do the veggies like halfway through the week if you needed to, but they're not gonna last you the whole week. I've tried. Yeah. I have tried.
But some people like love vegetables. So this is a couple hacks. One, don't fully cook it. Two, they have like frozen veggie packs that you can get, like this like steaming in a bag thing. That would be a prime thing to do, and just bring that with you to wherever you're going. They're frozen usually, so if they get a little defrosted, no big deal. And then you just warm them up right there. So if you need, because some people really like veggies. If you like to eat veggies, I would do one of those two things. I would not, like Liz said, don't totally cook it like you're cooking the meat and the rice, and then you're gonna put it in there. Trust me, 2 days, it's gonna be like mush.
It's rough.
Yeah, so don't do that.
I have one more tip.
Yeah, what else?
A lot of people tell me that they can't eat the same thing every day.
Yeah.
I hear that a lot. So my advice for that would be one of two things. Either when you're prepping the meat, just cook it with like a little salt and pepper or something, like plain, and don't really put anything in it. And then each day you can take out your seasoning that you want, your sauces that you want, whatever.
That is a great
Either bring it with
option.
you or do it at home, like when you're throwing everything in the bag, whatever. So either that way, or if you kind of know some like options that you want for the week, maybe you have like 2 or 3 different things. You're like, yeah, I like these options. So then prep your meals with those 2 or 3 different sauces. So maybe half your meals have, I don't know, barbecue sauce, and half of them have
ketchup.
Taco seasoning, whatever, something else. So that way, like, you have like 2 different options, even though it's the same meal, and literally it's not taking you really any extra time, because one, you're gonna maybe sprinkle some taco seasoning on, and one, you're gonna pour some barbecue sauce on. So however, like that's just my suggestion for the people who say they can't eat the same
thing every day.
Like, leave it plain, I think would actually be a better option, because then you can see what you're feeling for that day.
I would agree.
But if that's just like, I don't know, too much extra time each day to decide and then put something on it, you can have a mystery meal every day, and then
there you go.
Maybe it's taco, maybe it's barbecue. Meal. I don't know.
No, that's a great kind of ending point for today's episode, because you don't want to just be bored and like get like eating fatigue super early in your meal prepping career. So have a variety of seasonings, variety of sauces. I think we might maybe do another whole episode on that, to be honest, because they're shorter episodes. We can talk about our favorites and give you guys some tips and tricks for how to season it. But hopefully today we were able to break down how to get started with your meal prepping journey. And you can, I think with this information, you can get started.
And if I can do it,
that's what I was going to say.
Anybody can do it.
Yes, if Liz could do it, anyone could do it. She killed it last week, just with following the same kind of process. And we had great meals all week.
Yeah.
And Liz is not usually the person that cooks.
Nope.
And
I survived, and I didn't cut my fingers off.
Yeah, well, I did take the knife.